This is Jim McAndrew for Camera 3. We are watching the opening of Shibaraku, a Kabuki play written almost 300 years ago. Kabuki, the classic drama of Japan, blending tragedy, comedy, music, several kinds of dance, highly stylized speaking and singing, intricate makeup rich in symbolic meanings, gorgeous costumes and sets, pantomime, the grotesque as well as the beautiful. Kabuki, a total theatrical experience. The themes of Kabuki plays recall the days of the samurai, of feudal Japan, but also timeless days and timeless themes, love of mother for son, of sweethearts, of peace and of war, and old legends infused with the hopes of the common man. Today on Camera 3, we're going to study some of the inner secrets of Kabuki through film, including some very rare film of one of the great Kabuki actors of the past. In addition, we will have the help of two of the greatest Kabuki actors of the present day, Onoe Shoroku and Onoe Baiko. We also welcome as our guest the man who, more than any other, has made the Western world aware of Kabuki, Mr. Faubion Bowers. Mr. Bowers is the author of several books and many articles on world theater, and he has also written the first comprehensive study of Japanese drama.
Kabuki is the past in living pictures. It incarnates Japan's history. It's also the flower of world ancient theaters today. We don't know how the Greeks actually performed their plays, and Shakespeare is no longer done the way he was done 400 years ago. But in Kabuki, we have not only the spirit of the 17th and 18th centuries quite preserved, but many, many of the letters for all its extravagance and exaggeration. The theater itself in Japan is different, physically, from what it is in Europe or America. One identifying characteristic is the hanamichi that extends from the back, flowerway. It extends from the back of the theater to the stage. The antiquity of the classical theater of Japan is documented by the famous woodblock prints. Another characteristic is the costume change that takes place before the very eyes of the audience. The attendants to this woman who is dancing, actually it's a man, there are no women on the Kabuki stage because of tradition. The attendants pull the basting threads of her red brocade costume, and soon she'll turn silvery blue. Dancing with a wooden mask of a lion, being teased by little paper butterflies extended on fishing rods. The mask drags the girl along as the lion chases the butterflies. Again, the magical place on the hanamichi where all dramatic pauses, falls are made. Now that girl has become the lion itself. The ferocious mane tossing is one of the popular aspects of all Kabuki dances in which transformation of characters, beautiful maidens into demons or into lions, takes place. The orchestra, unlike the West, is in full view and fills the stage with its own sight as well as sound. butterflies are now dancers. The next film segment is of one of the most popular plays in all Kabuki repertoire. In a way, it's the quintessence of everything that 18th century Kabuki stands for. The commoner has risen, and the warrior is declining. Before, it had always been a question of birth, what your family position was, and of rice. Samurai were paid in rice. But now, the commoners introduced the element of money, and he who had money became powerful. And this will show the most beautiful courtesan of all of Edo, present-day Tokyo, spurning and scorning a warrior, an old warrior who wants her favor. This is played by the great Baiko VII, who takes the role of the courtesan and is one of the leading onnagata, player of women's roles. The great courtesan begins her speech of revilement against this warrior. Listen to me carefully. There is the old warrior. If I compare you to my sweetheart, even in the middle of the night, I would know the difference. One is snow, and the other is ink. You are disgusting. And even in darkest night, were you to change roles, I would know my lover. And she laughs a laugh of derision against him. He says he will now go and kill Skeroku, her lover. And his full villainy comes out, the warrior hatred for the common man. It is probably difficult to believe that the courtesan you just saw is the actor you see here. 観客は信じられないからちょっとやってください。あげます。
ハンケチ出してもようございま
Oh,
す。
yes, it's perfectly all right to bring out your handkerchief in
す
America.
ずりの海もナル
She
トの
compares
海も海という字は
her
一
lover
つでも
and the patron of the pleasure quarter, the wicked warrior, to snow and charcoal.
お前とスケロクさん
If I compare the two of you, and if they were to be changed in the middle of the night, I would know the difference. And she laughs scornfully at him. This is the great Baiko VII. He has the supreme honor of being an intangible cultural property. In Japan, not only objects of art, paintings, buildings are treasured for their marvelousness, but also great, great actors. He is the seventh Baiko and the star of the film which you just saw. Also with me today is an equally great star and an old friend, Shoroku, the second. The first Shoroku dates back to the 18th century, and he bears the second generation name. He is also the head of the celebrated school of dance, Fujima. He's also appeared in modern plays and recently conquered Tokyo with his Othello, and a couple of years ago enchanted the entire country with Cyrano. 小野さん、ちょっと聞きたいことがあるんです。歌舞伎の中で何が重要ですか? I've asked him what is important in kabuki. Kata. Kata is a conventional way of doing a simple action. And he's defining kata for me. He's going to show exactly what a kata is. If you continue that movie which we saw, the old man is now angry at the courtesan for insulting him. So he says, your lover, he's a mosquito in the palm of the hand, and I will swat him. And to heighten his horridness, he crosses one eye. それは結構ですね。だけど役者は苦しんでいないんですか。型は昔からちゃんと決めてある。I'm wondering if the Kabuki actor doesn't feel restricted by having to move from kata to kata, from one convention to another conventional way of doing things. But Shoroku is explaining that there are, even within a single role, there are several kata that you can use, and he's citing one particular role of a man who is about to go into battle. And this is the brilliant, the flashy way of doing it. The makeup is different, the costumes are entirely different when the kata is different. So he puts the battle fan, which is made of iron, incidentally, an instrument of death, and to show his eagerness to go into battle and the brilliance of the battle, he makes this kata. Now, the quiet way of doing the same motion to the same music and the same play, the same story, is to be plunged in thought, which gives an entirely different flavor to the approach to battle. And since one has variety in kata, the Kabuki actor is not restricted or limited. お二人さん、何か kata I'm asking for a kata which involves the two of them. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. They're going to take the simple word stop, how you would say stop, and show how it's done in English. But in Kabuki it becomes very, very long indeed. Here is the older brother who wants to charge the enemy right away, and the younger, gentle brother stops him, cautioning patience. And he yields to his brother. Speaking of kata always reminds me of a famous story in Japanese history. There was a chrysanthemum grower who was famous for the beauty of his garden. And the emperor, hearing of this, sent a message that on such and such a day he would go and view the garden of chrysanthemums. But when he arrived, the entire garden had been cut down except for one perfect bloom. And that is what kata is. It's the perfect expression of the meaning or of the mood or of the moment. Mr. Baiko wants me to make clear that kata is not all of Kabuki, that the fan plays a vital part, and particularly in the dance. And there are some fan tricks which have no meaning at all, just for decorative punctuation points within the course of a dance, and to show the virtuosity of the performer. And now Mr. Shoroku has acted as his stage attendant in catching the fan. This is the most difficult trick of all. Very hard to catch, and always requires a relaxing pose. Now these are the flashy fan tricks that have no meaning. Now there are tricks, the fan is used to express specific meanings. Waves of the ocean. A mountain. The moonrise. An umbrella. And snow or rain, either one. Wind. And when flower petals fall from the trees, such as cherry blossoms, half caught by the wind, and then they fall more quickly as they reach the ground. 見せないものを見せることいかがでしょうか。それでは私がお酒をついで。ああ、どうぞ。うまい。One of the arts of Kabuki is to make the invisible manifest. So Mr. Baiko is going to pour wine for Mr. Shoroku. Yopporo.
ドラマでしょ
Ooh, Mr. Shoroku's going to get drunk because the fan is so big, his cup is so big. Now see the invisible drops of wine as he pours, and look how heavy the cup gets. He blows the alcohol fumes from it so that he can swallow it all in one gulp. Now he is really drunk and hot from alcohol. Incidentally, this is the first time, either in Japan or Europe or in America, that these two great stars, or any Kabuki star, has ever performed a demonstration and discussed the inner secrets of Kabuki. Kabuki no naka wo nozoku koto desu ne. We are very fortunate today in having an historical film, Kumagai's camp, General Kumagai's battle camp. The film is very old. It was made 25 years ago. It's one of the few Kabuki films that has ever been made, and it shows the late, great star Nakamura Kichiemon playing the role of General Kumagai, which is also one of Shoroku's great roles. General Kumagai describes how the enemy was off in the distance. The young Atsumori, 16-year-old commander of the rear forces, was running away. And General Kumagai laughs at him. Don't flee. Here is an enemy for you. Here, I. I am a real enemy for you. And he names himself and calls him, come, come fight with me. He opens his battle fan and identifies his side as that of the Minamoto and challenges him. They're on horseback. The 16-year-old general turns his horse around, and they start fighting at the water's edge with swords. And then Atsumori says, let us fight hand to hand, directly. So he puts down his sword, dismounts from the horse, and the two of them grapple. They're fighting, and he finally gets Atsumori to the ground. And Atsumori's mother, who is there, says, so you defeated him. But when I looked at him and saw his face, I thought, he's a young man, exactly like my own son. And I said, get up and flee, go away. So I picked him up and brushed the dust from him. He said, behead me. So he asked that you kill him. Was there, I'm asking the difference between Kichiemon's performance and Shoroku's performance. The family line is different, so they're certain. This film that we just saw was made when Kichiemon was quite old, and so he doesn't move as much as Shoroku was. When Kumagai and Atsumori are grappling together, fighting, Kichiemon does the fan that way and gets Atsumori down in that way. But Shoroku does it this way.
馬上ながら
While being on horseback, he takes the arm of Atsumori, and then he opens the fan that way, and then
まあこんな
rolls Atsumori to the ground.
それから呼び止めてもやっぱり昔吉右衛門のさん若い時な
But Kichiemon, when he was young, also did the calling scene, come back and fight me, with the energy that Shoroku now doesn't. But in the film you just saw, it's very smooth and gentle because of his
やっぱり
age.
年を取られたからだと思います。まあただ私が一番違うところは吉右衛門のさん
But the place that is most different is in the way of opening the fan.
父の方で
And he obeys his family tradition, and his father opened the fan
まあ
flatly
そ
instead
んな
of
とこ
flashing.
ですね。
And that is about the limit of the difference between the two performances. I'd like our two stars here to show us one of the most important aspects of Kabuki, which is the tachimawari, or the fight.
立ち回り。そうですか。それじゃあ
And they'll do the fight scene from the Maple Leaf Viewing Picnic, which is a dance. Baiko was a princess, but has now been transformed into an evil ogre inhabiting this mountain. And the good Lord Koremochi finds her out and fights with the demon. The demon has wrenched a branch of the scarlet changed maple leaves from a tree, and that is his weapon. Who will win? At this point, no one knows. But although the demon has lost his weapon, he still has power. He opens his mouth to swallow Lord Koremochi, and the fumes make the Lord dizzy, and he loses consciousness. But the power of the magic within his sword saves him. The demon thinks that now is his opportunity, but when he tries to attack the Lord, the sword defends him. Again and again, the ogre tries. But the sword is mightier than the devil. Finally exhausted, the demon sinks to the ground. Lord Koremochi regains consciousness, resumes the fight, and it is his victory. And with this, the dance concludes in a perfect kata. どうもありがとう。小六さん、もう一つお願いあります。六歩。
六歩ですか。
お願いします。
それじゃあ、しばらく
お願いします。One of the most famous movements in all of Kabuki is known as roppo, or flying in 6 directions. It demonstrates the maximum of speed, the maximum of power, and it's a particular characteristic of commoner heroes in early 18th century plays. Here is the hero of Shibaraku, who is making the mighty effort of simply walking. And he calls out meaningless syllables, yattokotocha untokona, which derives from an early 18th century labor chant that the laborers in making mighty efforts did. And so, showing this maximum effort of walking, the hero rushes off stage, probably to save some commoner from the evils of some overlord.